Hi, and welcome back to the Badass Boss Bootcamp. I'm your host, Megan Neely, and I mentor women entrepreneurs who know that they're meant to be wealthy, to become their own badass boss. I show them how to grow their impact and their income on their own terms while living a luxurious life. And today we are on step 3 of the 10-step checklist to be your own badass boss, which is master client enrollment. And this is huge because if you don't have clients, you don't really have a business. We can do all the behind the scenes work on things, but until we're really working with real live people, we're not making the kind of impact we want to make. And the person who I trust more than anyone in the world with learning about client enrollment is Sage Lavine. Sage Lavine is my business mentor, and she is the CEO of Women Rocking Business, reaching nearly 100,000 conscious women entrepreneurs around the globe. Sage teaches women entrepreneurs to fill their practice and create sustainable wealth through creating a business that they love. And she has shared the stage with Neil Donald Walsh, Jack Canfield, Janet Atwood, Marsha White Leader, and many more. Sage believes in purposeful entrepreneurship as a way to create world change, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to have Sage with us today, because if we're not connected to our purpose, if we're not connected to our big why we really want to be doing what we're doing, it's going to feel way more challenging and we won't be able to sustain long-term success. So we're going to get to dive in with Sage more about how that connects to having a business that you love. And Women Rocking Business has raised over $500,000 for women around the globe. Women in the rainforest in Indonesia, supporting them to build businesses that serve their communities and protect our ecosystems. And Sage inspires her students to love themselves and each other so much that we can't help all but succeed together. Thank you for being with us today.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad you put this series together. I mean, what an incredible gathering of visionaries, Megan. You've done such a beautiful job. I know there's so many women out there that are just so grateful for this.
Thank you. Yes, and this is one of the reasons it's so important to have mentorship, to have people who are leading the way, because it was through working with you that I got inspired to start playing a bigger game and to create summits and to get both online and in person more than I was doing before. And I noticed when I didn't have a mentor, I was just kind of hanging out and taking it pretty slow and probably would have burned out and not even had the business at all that I have today without your support. So I'd love to hear a little bit from you about how your journey evolved, how you actually got into mentoring women entrepreneurs.
It's such a joy to work with you, Megan, because you go for it so quickly and you're already leading so many women. It's been one of my great honors to have you as a client. And if you're like Megan and I, and you actually want to go pretty quickly, we're here to tell you, and I'm here to really remind you, it actually is a bit easier to go a little bit quicker than to build a business really slowly. Because one of the things that really fuels us, I believe, in building business is actually getting you making money and getting you serving people. And that actually feeds us. When we try to build businesses slow, it can be like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And we're not always times like receiving back that which we're giving out. So some of you may be here feeling a little frustrated that you're not receiving back that which you're giving out quite yet. And Megan and I are both here to tell you that it's possible to go a little bit more quickly so that you can get that money back, right? Like we have to get you making money, and we have to get you freeing up your time a little bit so that you can actually see the fruits of your labor. And if we don't get you experiencing those things in a relatively short amount of time, we risk you burning out or running out of the time and money and the energy and the drive to really go for this. So we're here to tell you that your clients are waiting for you. There's people out there, I believe, that you have a soul contract with, that you're meant to serve, that other, they really do need to get the message from you specifically because of what you've been through. One of the specific unique things about me is that I wasn't always an entrepreneur. I wasn't always entrepreneurial. I'm what you might call a little bit of an accidental entrepreneur. I was a school teacher in Iowa making $28,000 a year. And at the time when I actually left teaching, I was teaching in Oregon. And, my soul was burning out. Like, I love the kids, but I did not like the standardized tests. I did not like sitting through tons of meetings. And I had this dream that I was standing in a circle of women on the beach and we were creating dream businesses together. And I remember waking up one morning and gathering all my courage and just realizing that I was going to have to leave teaching. like see if there was any possibility of me creating this dream. And in the process of leaving teaching, I studied, I did a yoga teacher training. I did a Reiki master training. I did a life purpose certification course. I got my coaching certification, and I actually invested almost $500,000 in business training so I could actually learn about business. In the process of doing that, I got really clear that I'm here. I really am here to actually help women live their dreams through their businesses. And meanwhile, my personal life was totally falling apart. I was going through a really painful divorce to a man who at the time was my best friend. And so I want to just remind you that if you are going through any kind of a transformation in your life, or any kind of a transition, whether it's a health transition or a relationship transition, or whether you just feel like you're in a big personal transition and you're wondering, is this the right time to start a business? Megan and I are both here to tell you, like, our lives have completely shifted around since we started our businesses. And I actually believe it's the perfect time for you to start a business, because you're really laying the foundation for a totally new way to be. In fact, I was not entrepreneurial. Like I said, my mom used to be really resistant. She didn't want me selling Girl Scout cookies because she was afraid I would offend the neighbors. Like, that's how non-salesy my family was. They used to make fun of salespeople. And now I'm like this, I like teach women how to sell. You know, my family's I mean, I was kind of afraid they were going to like not invite me to the lake cabin, you know, like 5 years ago when my business started taking off. I'm like, am I going to be ostracized? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm just here to tell you that no matter what your relationship is with sales or selling or entrepreneurship, whether you've successfully done it or whether you haven't done it, it's just a learnable skill set that anyone can skill up in these tools. I'm going to be teaching you one of my favorite energetic-based systems for really getting as many clients as you want. Within 18 months of me really committing to growing my business, we became $1 million training company. And I have a whole new set of things that I'm learning to master. And I'm mastering a team of a dozen women that now work for me. I'm mastering like how to run my schedule. You know, I'm really committed to working most months 12 days a month or less. Right now I'm launching a book, so I'm working a little bit more than normal, but it's worth it because I'm launching like my baby out in the world, you know? So there's all these new things that I'm learning, but I'll tell you, my life didn't look anything like this, you know, 7 years ago. I was living a completely different life, and I'm sitting here in downtown Santa Cruz in my little office overlooking the town square. I'm going to go surfing this afternoon. I bought a house last year that's 2 blocks from the ocean. Megan and I have gotten to hang out there many times, drinking tea together. And I want to really tell you, no matter like whether you think you can do it or whether you don't think you can do it, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't matter your skill set. Everything that Megan and I are talking about, it's learnable, and you can create a business that sets you free. You can. It's a decision that happens inside of you where you decide to do this. And then you've got to have mentorship to close the gap on the skill sets that you may not already have. But once you put those pieces into place, you can have an entirely new kind of life. And I wouldn't trade my life in for anything right now. Like it's a thrill to have this much freedom and this much impact. Yeah. So thank you.
Yes. Oh, there's so much in there I could ask you about. But one of the things that I heard you say is just that it was a decision, right? You decided, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest in mentorship. I'm going to do whatever is needed to have this business. And it wasn't the perfect time, right? Quote unquote, perfect time going through divorce. Most people would think like, oh, I should just be lying on the couch and crying, or some version of that. And not necessarily starting a business. And this is something that I hear from a lot of women, like, well, there's this going on in my life, whatever that is. Maybe it's a child, maybe it's related to relationship or no relationship, or a job that you currently have part-time, whatever it is. So what would you say to women who are feeling like, I don't know if this is the right time? How do they know when it is?
I would say it's never the right time. Just like it's never the right time to have a baby, you know, like it's never the right time. But, you know, we have a joke in our community where we say, you know, as entrepreneurs, you don't need a PhD and you don't need a master's degree. You don't need those letters behind your name. All you need is an FSO and a GSD. And what that stands for is figure shit out and get shit done. And it's just so true, isn't it, Megan? I mean, like, that I think separates you from a lot of other women entrepreneurs out there that haven't quite gotten over that 6-figure hump, is that you're so willing to figure it out. You're like, there's no little challenge that somebody could throw in front of you in your business that you're going to be like, oh yeah, that would stop me. You're like, okay, you take a breath. I mean, I watch you. It's like you take a breath and you're like, let's go. And whatever you do to remind yourself that it's not about asking for it to be easier. It's about asking to remember how strong you are. You know, surround yourself with women who are willing to go for it alongside you. Surround yourself with women who aren't going to collude and complain with you about how hard it is. Surround yourself with women that can really stand by you. And then to take it one step at a time, because it is the greatest joy in the whole world to get to build something and then watch the fruits of your labor actually change lives. Like, watch people actually change their lives because of what you've done. I mean, this is what women were built to do. One of the things I'm really adamant about, as you know, is that we can change, as women, we can change the way business is done on the planet. Like, we really can. We're living at a time when business as usual is oftentimes causing more problems than it's causing good. We're living at a time where business fuels exploitation, where there are people on the planet that value the value of money higher than the value of a human life. Now, that's not how women are wired. When you look out across the whole world at women who are starting businesses and giving back, women are actually the givers. We tend to donate more of our money. We tend to give back up to 50 cents on the dollar once our family's basic needs, our financial needs are met. And we pay back our loans. When you look out at microloans, microlending around the world, women are the ones who pay back their loans. They pay back like 97% of their loans, and they put their money that they earned back into the community. And when the Dalai Lama said that the Western woman would change the world, he didn't just mean like Megan and I, he meant all of us. And we're living at a time when women actually have an opportunity to start businesses. Women are starting businesses 1.5 times faster than men right now, yet we're still only earning 80 cents on the dollar. And it's up to us. It's up to us to step up and say, I'm raising my rates, I'm claiming my value, I'm learning to do this business, because entrepreneurship is the perfect solution to close that pay gap, right? So that we can be 100. We can be earning a dollar for dollar what men earn. And I predict that we'll be there in a few years, and we're going to be there because of women like you and I who step up and say, I'm going to do this my way. I'm going to remember how strong I am, and I'm going to actually use my feminine qualities to grow my business. I don't have to do it like a robot. I don't have to do it like a man. But we can build businesses from a place of empowerment rather than power over, collaboration rather than competition, and generosity rather than like a sense of urgency.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things I so appreciate about being part of your community, because there is so much generosity. And I feel like some people have heard me talk about how I went to an all-girls school. And so I had this whole, a different kind of environment of being raised essentially through grade 12 with all women, girls around me, not women, I'll say girls around me. And they were pretty catty and really like cutting each other down. And so even though the overarching mission of the school was you could do anything and girls are powerful, so that part was really great. It was really empowering to start with. There was also this feeling like, oh, women can't be trusted. And I have felt that from you, and definitely have created the same kind of environment within my community of women can be trusted. We can actually do more together. We can be more powerful together. And I know for many women, it can feel scary and feel like as entrepreneurs, we're out there on our own, having to do it all by ourselves. And so one of the ways that I first kind of broke that pattern of just hanging out behind my computer and doing it all by myself was I registered for your live event, Women's Leadership Summit, which I highly recommend. It happens every spring. And getting to go and be with a whole crowd of women who are gathered together with the same vision, right? We all have our different businesses that we're working on, but this vision of having a bigger impact in the world. And I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about why you started to focus on live events and having that experience as part of your work, when a lot of people focus more on just be online, just do things online. And one of the things that really sets you apart is your focus on live.
Yeah. I really recommend that you all consider getting out there and do talks in your community.
Mm-hmm.
I really recommend, even if you don't feel comfortable like public speaking, if you don't think you're a masterful public speaker, Megan and I both, I know, we're going to really encourage you to get out there and be seen and be visible in your message and just try it on and be willing to do it imperfectly. One of the things that is really true, and one of the things that you should know as a woman entrepreneur who's embarking on getting your message out into the world, is that you have a couple of choices to get your message out. You can do things online, and you can do things live and three-dimensionally and in person. And I really have come to understand in building the 7-figure company that it's a combination of both that's going to set you up for long-term success. And for those of you that needed to be making money yesterday, like I know that's quite a few people, like I ask my clients, I'm like, so when do you need to be making money? And they're like, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer to those of you that would answer similarly, and I know that's not all of you, but the answer to those of you is to, jot this down. These are important metrics for you to understand. When you get online, you're going to convert at between 1 and 5%. That's just standard. That's what Megan and I are both getting when we do online when we do online classes. And so you have to expect that, because you have to know what's realistic. You have to know what other masters are doing when they're online marketing. When you watch a webinar and there's 1,000 people on the webinar and they're like, oh, Joe Schmo just bought my $20,000 program. And so did Megan Neely. And so did, Billy Bob, and they're like reading down the list of names and you're like, how are they doing it? It's like, how they're doing it. They've spent years growing a mailing list. And they have 1,000 people on a webinar, and they've probably groomed that webinar over several months' time, maybe a couple years' time, where they now know exactly how to create that, how to build up the tension in that webinar to have people, boom, decide to buy right then. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're first starting out, that's a lot of things to figure out. And it's not easy to get 100 people on a webinar, to get 1,000 people on a webinar, right? So if you know that you're going to convert 1 to 5% online, let's say that you want to get, a new client. Well, if you're going to convert at 1 to 5%, you need a good solid 50 to 100 people on a webinar to get one new client. But let's say that you decide to talk in your local community and do a 2-hour evening workshop where you give people some great value, just like you're getting on this telesummit, and then let people know, guess what, there's more where that came from. Research shows, this is proven numbers, that about 1 in 5 people who attend a live event will be interested in purchasing from you. They'll be interested in investing in their own transformation through your services, because you will have built more intimacy with them when you're live and three-dimensional with them than you would on a webinar. So imagine that. You want one new client? All you need to do is get 5 or 10 people to show up at the local library, and boom, you're going to get a new client or two. And Megan's nodding because she's seeing people in our community doing that every month. We have more women that have these results, and she has her own clients that are having these results. And so we're telling you what we know here.
Yeah.
Megan and I aren't really capable of the smoke and mirrors thing. Oh, it's just so easy. Just take this magic pill and you'll have 1,000 clients.
No.
I think you know that by now. So, get out there and speak, and come join us at a live event.
I have an event coming up, the Badass Boss Live Women's Wealth Weekend, that we have. Yes, and we have tickets available.
Go to that.
Yeah, we have tickets available for up to 100 women. So these are going to go pretty fast because they're totally scholarship tickets. And if you're listening to the summit right now and you're following along here and you feel like you love what we're up to, but you just want to really have some more attention on your personal vision, what you're going to be creating for this next year, because you know that you don't want to just sit back and receive the information, but you want to get into action around your goals so that you too can start to step into having more ease and abundance in your life and connection to living your purpose. Then I'd love to have you at Badass Boss Live. So we have a link right below for you to grab your ticket for that. And I know I still attend, I'd love to hear from you about this as well, Sage, but I still attend at least like 5 or 6 events a year just to keep learning and being in the space, because anybody who wants to get out there and be teaching and be leading, whether it's in person or virtually, I believe it's really important to make sure that you're still out there and learning yourself as well.
Well, one of the things I've really learned from you, Megan, is first of all, that you're so good at helping people clarify their vision. So good at that. And one of the other things that I've learned is that you're really good at helping people make that identity shift into being a boss. And actually thinking like a boss and planning that business plan for the next 6 to 12 months, like stepping into that place of being like the CEO of your company. And for most of us, we're not taught how to do that. So I would just say, if you have the opportunity in October to get away for a couple days, Megan's event is right on the ocean, right? It's on the California, it's right on the beach. It's gorgeous. There's no better environment that you could be to really get clear on what your business is supposed to be, and then get the tools that Megan teaches to really build the badass bossery that's going to come from, you really, like Megan was saying at the beginning of the interview, like choosing and deciding that this is what you're committed to. So yeah, I highly recommend you go. Don't miss this opportunity, especially if there's scholarship tickets. No brainer.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I know for many women, they're thinking like, okay, well, I don't even know where to begin getting clients. I know that I need money coming in, or I'm not going to be able to keep this thing going. It feels more like a hobby right now. Yeah. So where do you recommend they start when they need their first clients?
Yes, it's such a good question. So where do we start? So number one, what I recommend that you do is I recommend that you consider your life as a PhD program preparing you for your business. So a lot of people are like, but what makes me unique? But everybody else is already out there doing the thing that I want to do, right? How many of you have looked out into the world and you see other people doing it and you're like, why should I do it? I mean, if Megan had done that, how could she have ever hired me as a mentor? A lot of women in Megan and I's position right now, like, let's just be totally transparent. A lot of women in Megan and I's position wouldn't be interviewing each other because we would consider each other competition. But that's not how we roll. And that's one of the reasons why we're both successful. Neither of us has ever been struggling to get clients. And you want to know why? Because we are grounded in generosity, and we're grounded in the truth that Megan has certain life experiences that she's been through that are going to make her uniquely like the right one to teach women to live this life of luxury, in their business. And I have certain life experiences that I've been through that are going to make me uniquely the right teacher for other women. So I want to just really underline that when you take and when you stand in this mindset, there's no competition out there. And you really know that your life has been preparing you like a PhD program to give a gift that only you can give. And when you know that, and here you can stop running all that anxiety and adrenaline around building your business, and you can actually relax and enjoy the process of business. And you can enjoy the small steps, those small steps that you're going to take. It's like the first client, and then the second client, and then the third client. So number one, honor your life as a PhD program that is preparing you to build your business. I have a quick example of that. My client, Susan Pierce Thompson, she's been on a really, really painful journey with food. And she literally was diagnosed with binge eating disorder when she was 23 years old. Her weight would swing back and forth from a size 4 to a size 24. She went on her own sort of Shiro's journey to lose the weight. And in the process of doing that, she tapped into, Food Addicts Anonymous and human psychology and brain science. And she ended up becoming a psychology professor and finally getting her weight under control. And it was a combination of science and spirituality. She built a company around what she discovered. By the way, she's been a consistent size 4 for over a decade. She's gorgeous. And she's now built a multi-million-dollar company helping hundreds of thousands of women lose weight. Now, your life journey might not translate as directly as Susan's does. We have clients who help people overcome breast cancer or heal from breast cancer who have never even had breast cancer themselves. But what I'm saying to you is that you have been through a unique set of life circumstances that it's going to help you feel confident to get started. Now, the other thing that I recommend that you do is I recommend that you start one project at a time. Don't start creating content in a closet. Okay? Get out there, just like I was saying before. Do a talk at your local community center, you know, sit down at a women's group and let people know what you're doing and take a couple of practice clients. Okay? The clarity that you're seeking in your business, it's going to come from taking action. Okay? Clarity comes from taking action and not the other way around. So that's what's going to get you where you want to.
There's a tweetable, clarity comes from taking action. Because I think so often we can tend to, or I definitely tended to before I met you, it was like, I'll journal about it for a while. Yeah.
It's just going to come any minute. I know it's coming, right?
Yeah. And I had lots of great downloads that seemed like that was the greatest aha moment. And then I would put it out there and there was nothing, like no one, no one interested or whatever. And that can feel really discouraging. So I just want to speak to that for any of the women listening who feel like, well, I already did. I had the great download and then no one wanted what I had to give. So it must not be right. But it's just a matter of getting the right languaging and knowing like, what is it that your clients are really waiting to get support with and finding out where your genius matches up with that.
Yeah, I just really want to underline that there's really no amount of inner work that you can do substitute for the outer work of just taking the steps. And when you go out there and you get that first client or you get those next 5 clients, the self-love, it goes through the roof. Right? So it's worth it. Even though it's going to feel uncomfortable, it's worth it.
Yes, absolutely. 100% worth it. And I would love to hear you talk a little bit about what to do if you don't like sales. Because I know, for the women who feel like
sales.
I don't want to be.
People come to me and they're like, I hate sales. Like, why would I start a business if I have to sell myself? I'd rather cut off my left arm,
Right.
I'm like, don't cut off the arm. Like, we're going to teach ways to like leave the arm intact, right? So one of the things that I want to really challenge you on is like, where do these negative beliefs come from in you around sales and marketing, right? Because at its core, let's just like look at the energy of selling for a moment. At its core, selling our services, it's just a form of like making an offering, right? I even like to consider selling a service.
Yes.
Because without it, how would our customers find out about our services, right? Selling, if you take it one step further, it's actually like a form of self-expression. So my little assignment for every single one of you, jot this down, is to, journal. Yeah, we are going to tell you to journal. Journal on, a really bad experience that you've had, like feeling like you were sold to. Mm-hmm. And then journal about an awesome experience that you've had buying something that changed your life. I had like the worst salesman for my car. Like, he was the worst, but I just wanted the car. Like, I wanted a new car. Like, I just remember being like, I don't even care how salesy you are because I'm going to drive this car off a lot for $400 a month. And I just remember driving down the Ocean Highway with the sunroof up and my girlfriend hanging out in the sunroof, and we're like listening to music at the top of our lungs and singing at the top of our lungs. And so I want to get it in you. I invite you to really embrace that you get to do this your way. And that for the sales experiences that you've had that felt icky, I know that you've also had times when you've invested in something that changed your life. Mm-hmm. So we need to ramp up the good feelings on the times that you've been sold to that felt amazing, and minimize the feelings, of course, about the times that felt yucky, and to really remind yourself that you get to do this your way. You never have to get on stage in front of people and say anything that feels out of integrity. Okay, we're going to keep you in integrity. We're going to keep you oriented around service, and you're going to do great. You're going to do great.
Yeah, wonderful. And if there's anything that you want to share about that, if you haven't yet joined the Facebook group, we've got the link right below, and you can join the group, and I'll be over there throughout the next 10 days, really sharing, more exercises and tips for you to take this a little deeper. And you don't have to keep these things to yourself. So I'd love to hear a line or two about what's the experience that stuck with you that was the hard sales experience. Like, ugh, you felt icky and you don't want to be like that. You want to push that away. And then the one that feels really good. And I know one of the practices I like to do before I'm getting into an enrollment conversation is actually really drop into thinking about something that shows up on my credit card bill that I feel really grateful for every month.
Yeah.
And like, this is a blessing that I get to receive and I choose it. And what is it? So we're exchanging energy for these things. So thinking about that, if there's something that, yes, you're paying for, you're investing in, and you also have this feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful to have this support.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
To keep in mind as well that people aren't investing in you.
Mm-hmm.
I think makes it seem so vulnerable. Like, oh, they're like buying me. They're not. They're buying the transformation that you offer. So to really be sure to like stay on your side of the fence. I know women can get caught in some codependent thinking traps. So just remember, your potential clients are investing in their own transformation through your services. And that'll help clean it up for you too. And I love that, Megan, to just really be steeped in the gratitude for what it is that our businesses afford us, the ability to do, to really get in that feeling of gratitude and service before we go into sales. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And to be able to have those enrollment conversations and to step in to inviting your clients to work with you. I know Sage is going to share with us today more about 4 leadership styles for client enrollment.
Yeah. So in the last 7 or 8 years, I've served thousands of women entrepreneurs, and I've noticed these trends in them where they have certain leadership qualities, but they're oftentimes missing other leadership qualities. And when we can actually get them skilling up in the qualities that they're not as strong at and really utilizing the qualities that they're naturally strong at, we can scale their businesses more quickly, attract their clients more quickly. And this is really these 4 energetic styles of leadership. These 4 leadership styles are really they're really the essence of enrollment, right? Because Megan and I, we can give you enrollment scripts and we can tell you exactly what words to say when you're in an enrollment conversation. But if you don't have these energies balanced, I find that it's tricky to create the kind of container that has people feel really held, but also that wakes people up, right? Because you can't just nurture somebody in an enrollment conversation and love on them and expect them to buy from you, right? You just can't. You're not bringing in enough of the fire. You're not bringing in enough of the I need to wake you up. And you also can't just wake people up, because if you're like, hey, here's all my advice for you, and you blast them with no heart, they're going to go away. So I want you to tune in as I describe these 4 leadership styles. And you can also go take the quiz and find out what the quiz tells you your results are, so that you can be sure to really utilize your strongest leadership quality and skill up in the areas where you might be weak. And the quiz is at my website. It's at womenrockingbusiness.com. So I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to draw a big plus sign in the middle of the paper. Okay, so draw a vertical line and a horizontal line so that the lines intersect, right, forming a cross. And then I actually want to show you how these leadership styles are laid out on the elemental diagram. So at the top, go ahead and write north, right? East on the right, south at the bottom, and west on the left. So that essentially you've turned the paper into a compass. Why do you do this? Because these 4 leadership styles, they do really coincide with the directions and the elements. And for those of us that, find our spirituality out in nature, what I've found is that when I actually sync up my business teachings with nature's principles, because so many of my clients do find a lot of their connection in nature, it's like they're more likely to just go out and use the business building principles, because they're like, oh my God, these are nature's principles. Why would I resist something that nature's doing around me all the time, right?
Yeah.
So in these 4 directions, I want you to indicate on your paper that CEO is on the east, the right-hand side of the page. The healer is in the north at the top. The coach is in the west on the left of the page, and the mentor is in the south at the bottom of the page. Okay? Native Americans used to use the 4 directions and the corresponding elements as a way of really understanding universal principles, right? So let's talk first about, let's start in the East, because the sun rises in the East. That's the element of vision. It's also the element of air, right? The visionary is taking a big picture. The CEO and the visionary are both on that eastern side of the compass, all right? In the energy of, in the element of the South, that's all about fire. It's all about being a bold mentor. It's all about taking action. In the energy of the West, that is the energy of water. That's the energy of resources. That's the energy of coach. The coach is also really curious and willing to sort of flow with people's experience. And in the direction of the North, that's that element of earth. And earth is all about being a grounded, nurturing healer in the way that the earth nurtures us, right, on a daily basis. So I want to talk a little bit more about the CEO or the visionary. If this is you, you're naturally good at holding the highest possibility for your clients. Like, you naturally know how to do this. You're a natural CEO, and you're also willing to take risks, right? Because the visionary is like, I'm holding the big picture. I don't care about details, right? Like, that's one of her strengths. Not everybody has this strength, but some of you do. So just feel into, like, is this an area that I'm comfortable in? And if it's not, that might be one that you want to skill up in. So moving around the wheel in the direction, let's go to the North, the direction of earth. That's the nurturing healer. The healer brings empathy, naturally brings intuition and grounding to her clients' challenges and concerns. The nurturer, right? The nurturing part of you knows that your clients, your potential clients, they don't want your advice until they actually know that you care about them, right? It's like that old saying, like, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this is a mistake I see a lot of beginning entrepreneurs make, is they'll go too quickly to advice in a way that a mentor would give or a coach would give, before they bring in that element of nurturing and empathy and that healer archetype, that healing leadership style. So if this is something that you're great at, keep bringing it. People love it. And if you know this isn't something that you're naturally good at, that you sometimes tend to go toward advice before you actually bring the caring, be sure to bring that caring acknowledgement into the conversation before you try to sell somebody something, right? I know this was me when I first got started. I was actually more comfortable giving people advice than I was at bringing in those more healing qualities. And I remember this woman came to me and she's like, I'm a single mom and I have 2 kids, and how am I ever going to start a business? And my husband won't pay for a thing, and my husband's a jerk. And I'm just thinking, like, she's in victim mode and she's blaming her husband for everything. And I so quickly just wanted to be like, I'm going to teach you about the triangle. You're stuck on this triangle, villain, victim, hero, and you're a victim. And, like, I started going into that and I could just feel her going further away from me. And I remember the moment when I stopped and I looked into her eyes and I'm like, oh my God, sister, it is so hard to build a business if you're a single mom. Like, I am so sorry for everything that you've been through. And I just took a deep breath and she started crying, and she was open to hearing all my advice, right? Once she really understood that I got her. Let's move around the wheel to the direction of the West. And this is where the coach lives. Okay, so we've talked about the CEO/visionary. That's in the same spot in the East. We've talked about the healer. That's in the same spot in the North. Let's talk about in the West, that's the leadership style of the coach. The coach is really good at listening and asking questions to understand what's going on and pulling somebody's greatness out of them so that you can reflect it back to them. Because people need to see their greatness. People need to see their potential if they're going to invest thousands of dollars with you, okay? And then last but not least, let's talk about the mentor. The mentor lives in the direction of the South, and the mentor is in the energy of fire, and the mentor is not afraid to give advice. And I know some of you out there might actually be really good at nurturing and loving on people, but you sometimes hesitate to give people advice. Well, I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of mentors out there that are giving really bad advice. There's doctors prescribing medications left and right. So, what prevents you from telling people what you know?
Mm-hmm.
Know that you're somebody who oftentimes has wisdom for people and you might hold it back. This may be the leadership style that you want to skill up in. Now remember, when all 4 leadership styles are strong, it's kind of like driving around in a car with 4 full tires, right? You're going to create a container where people feel both loved and seen, and you're holding their vision and they feel challenged.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to wake them up and take them somewhere where they haven't been comfortable going before. And that's the energy of selling. Can you feel it? You want to feel like this person gets you. You want to feel like this person can actually take you somewhere that you've never been. And you also want to feel loved in the process. Okay, so bring these energies into your enrollment conversations and they're going to transform. And again, taking the quiz is really cool because the quiz actually gives you some tangible examples of how to skill up in each of the 4 areas once you get your results. So I look forward to hearing from some of you who actually do go and take the quiz.
Yeah. So just to be clear, from taking the quiz, they're going to learn what their strongest leadership style is, and then also how to skill up in the areas where they may not feel as strong.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're going to teach you how to utilize your strongest style. Because if you're naturally a visionary, we need to actually get that into your marketing more and more and more. If you're naturally a healer, we've got to get some of that into your marketing. Mm-hmm. You can attract the people that want what you have. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Go take the quiz for sure. Because it's so vital also, as you said, about the balancing between the 4 and learning where we aren't as strong and then how we can bring in these pieces. Because often I hear from clients who are in the early stages of their business, well, that's just not me. And I know that you and I both take a stand for authenticity and really being yourself. But if someone is, for instance, in the healer segment and they have said no way to everything that's over there in the CEO segment, could you speak to that? How do you balance this being authentic with the fact that you need some CEO to go along with your healer?
Yeah, it's a really good question. For those of you that are a little bit weaker at CEO, one of the challenges that I would give you is to actually start making your vision bigger than your to-do list on a daily basis. Because like, for instance, I have 12 women working for me. I did 3 big, online virtual trainings this week for over 1,000 people. I'm launching a book. I have a whole team of people working for me. And if I get caught writing an email for an hour and a half, the whole thing's going to fall apart. I'm having to consistently really stay in my CEO quadrant and then delegate out everything that's not my genius. At this point, my job is to be in front of people. My job is to be inspiring you. My job is to be connecting with you. And then once you may choose to take another step with us, yes, I'll be there waiting, but so will my team of coaches and my team of client service providers. And, the websites are all working properly because I didn't try to fiddle with them myself, right? And Megan, I know you're in the process of this. You're letting go of a lot right now. You're delegating a lot right now, and you've got a team growing. And if you're somebody who knows that this isn't as comfortable of an area with you, you're not as good at asking for help, right? You're somebody who tends to get bogged down in details. This is going to be a great assignment for you every morning to really put that vision in front of you before you tackle the to-do list. And as you tackle the to-do list, to start really making a note of which of these things would I really not want to be doing in 3 months? Which of these things could I give away in 3 months, so that you have a growing list of things that you want to be able to give to an assistant as soon as you get enough clients to hire an assistant? I think that's another mistake beginner entrepreneurs make, is they wait too long to hire an assistant and then they're still bogged down and wearing too many hats. So again, you'll get a little assignment for each of the 4 leadership styles. Once you take the quiz, you'll be able to download the PDF. But for now, I really want to challenge you to just be sober and be honest about what's your strongest and where are you not as strong, and then feel proud of yourself, right, for being willing to skill up in these areas and really use your strengths, rather than making yourself wrong at all, right? We're not here to make you wrong, but we're here to help you see that we all have gaps. And the sooner we can actually be oh yeah, that's a little bit of a blind spot, the sooner we can actually admit that, the sooner we can close that up, so we can just help more people and, create more money for ourselves, so that we can really have these lives that we're wanting to have.
Yes. Beautiful. And one of the pieces that I always speak to is making your vision bigger than your fears. because when you really step into, this is what I see, and I'm moving towards this for my potential clients, with my clients, and this is the vision for my life and my business, and you're holding that, it's bigger than all the tiny like day-to-day stuff that can get in the way. And I know we're coming towards the end of our time, and I'm so grateful that we've had this time together, Sage, and so grateful to have your ongoing support. I've learned so much from you and continue to learn. Just one of the biggest things is this generosity piece of just seeing you show up again and again, so open, so generous, so willing to share everything that you learn with all the women in your community. The giving that moves through you is just so inspiring. And I know any time that I feel any kind of clenching or closing, like something isn't working the way I thought it was going to work, like a client doesn't pay, or there's, just the month doesn't flow according to plan. It's really supported me having your guidance along the way and seeing how, there's always more to open up to keep giving. So thank you for lighting the way with your generosity.
You're so welcome. And it's been such an honor to watch you build your queendom and serve your clients. And, you have all these incredible, unique mindsets about growing a business that I've learned from. So, Megan, you're incredible. I absolutely look up to you. And for any of you who are considering attending the Badass Boss live event, I just don't hesitate. Just, I know that there's like things that get in the way, like getting on an airplane, booking the hotel, all of those little things. And I'm here to tell you that it'll be worth it. Come get the support from a tribe of female badass bosses who are, really committed to making a big difference. And thank you for putting this event together. What a beautiful, generous give to the women in your community and the women that are gathering. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sage. Thank you. And I'm so excited to see many of you at the Badass Boss Live weekend. And again, the link is right below for you to make sure you can grab your ticket while we still have some. And I'm going to be over on the Facebook page. So if you have questions and more is getting stirred up for you, as it will throughout these next few days, please open up and share, and I'll be connecting with you over there.
And don't forget that you actually have clients that are waiting for you out there. They're not just waiting for someone like you. They're actually waiting for you.
Yes, they're actually waiting for you.